Nancy Cordes has been tracking the Democratic race, joins us now. Nancy, with regard now to the issue of Donald Trump's tax returns, it's interesting, again, Hillary Clinton finding a very unlikely ally, in fact, in Mitt Romney, of all people. What is behind the Clinton campaign strategy here?
Well, it's sort of a gimme of an issue for them. Anytime that you've got bigwigs in the Republican Party berating their nominee because they think that he's doing something wrong, that's usually a signal to the other side, this is an issue we probably should take up. So only a few hours after the AP had published its article saying that Trump told them that he probably wouldn't release his taxes until after the November elections, it was magically there in Clinton's stump speech. And she even got asked about it by the crowd. People shouted out, "What about his taxes?" And so, you know, it was even a better situation for her because it sort of looked like it came up organically, and she was just responding to voters in the crowd at her rally there in New Jersey. Look, Hillary Clinton is someone who has been hammered about transparency, about her taxes, about her Wall Street speeches, about her emails. So if she's got a chance to turn the tables for once, she's certainly going to take full avail of that opportunity.
It also seemed very much a general election salvo, and yet the Clinton camp, meanwhile, put out a memo to donors yesterday. It stated that basically said, look, we understand the upcoming primaries do favor Bernie Sanders, but again, it doesn't change the fact that she is on track to win the nomination, as Bernie Sanders, if nothing else, continues now to be a pebble in the shoe. What was the significance of this memo?
That's a big pebble, isn't it? And the significance of the memo is to sort of soften the blow for donors who might start to get a little panicky if she loses a run of states right at the end of the primary when she's trying to actually unify the party. And the campaign isn't mincing words. Things don't look that great for her in states like Montana and South Dakota and North Dakota because these are states that have small minority populations. Those are the kinds of states where Bernie Sanders tends to do well. You've got Oregon coming up. It's one of the most progressive states in the country. Also the kind of state where he tends to do really well. Kentucky coming up, coal country. We saw how she fared in another coal state, West Virginia. So they know that it's going to be a bumpy May, and they're just hoping that in June, when you've got two big states, California and New Jersey, coming up, that they can sort of finish strong. But they want their donors to know, look, you know, it's not going to be great, but it is going to be okay because at the end of the day, her delegate lead is nearly insurmountable, Josh. And
to that end, perhaps Bernie Sanders saying yesterday, don't moan to me about Hillary Clinton's problems. He does have problems of his own. Meanwhile, in the biggest state left on the table is California State Director abruptly leaving the campaign. What do we know there?
Well, this is kind of a blow because Sanders has said publicly that he's really focusing his resources now and his staffing on California. He wants to make a big splash there. He thinks that a win in California would send a big message to the Democratic establishment heading into the convention in July. So the fact that his director in that state is stepping down with less than a month to go isn't great news. It does appear that this was, at the very least, a mutual decision between Sarasso and the campaign. And Sarasso had the notion that because they were dealing with fewer resources, that the campaign could really pull off this race, mostly with digital organizing, sort of reaching out to volunteers, mobilizing them online, rather than TV advertising, which is always expensive, but especially in media markets like California and like Los Angeles and San Francisco. The campaign didn't agree with him, and for good reason. TV advertising has been a big strength for Bernie Sanders. You know, think of that America ad featuring Simon and Garfunkel and all those people coming together. You know, that really made a splash for Bernie Sanders, and so that's something that his team has done very well. And the notion that they wouldn't do it at all in a state like California, you know, just was something that campaign leaders weren't comfortable with.
We're also seeing the picture being clouded again by some of these periphery optics, if you will. Yesterday, it was Joe Biden loosing his inner monologue and saying, I think I would have been the best president. Today, there's a story in Politico saying that Biden would have wanted Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren as his running mate. Elizabeth Warren has been, if nothing else, a social media surrogate for the Democrats taking on Donald Trump, perhaps on his chosen field of play. To the end, then, of VPs, at least, has Hillary Clinton has the camp made any suggestion about where she stands with regard to her VP and perhaps where Elizabeth Warren might be on that list?
No, beyond saying that they believe that Elizabeth Warren is a great senator, a great Democrat. Hillary Clinton has been, effusive in her praise of Elizabeth Warren. She knows how popular Warren is with the progressive wing of the party and with voters, frankly, who might be reluctant after Bernie Sanders loses to turn the corner, if that's what happens, and vote for Hillary Clinton. So they know that Elizabeth Warren, at the very least, makes a powerful ally, even if she isn't eventually selected as the vice presidential nominee. But the bigger problem for the Clinton campaign with all these stories about Joe Biden is that the last thing you want when you're this close to clinching the nomination is a whole bunch of Democrats suddenly sort of having second thoughts and saying, maybe Joe Biden would have been the best candidate. Maybe it would have been awesome if he had had Elizabeth Warren as his nominee. That just would have been a bang-up ticket, maybe better than what we've got now. Nobody wants to have second thoughts the minute that they drive the car off the lot. And so, it's not great for the Clinton camp, but there is a sense better to weather it now than, let's say, 3 months from now.
Nancy Cordes, with the philosophical buyer's remorse of the Democrats, we thank you.
You're welcome.